Welcome into Kitchen Talk Pickleball Edition. I'm your host, Caitlin Miller, and this week joining us is the #1 ranked senior pro and quite an entertainer on the court, Lee Whitwell. Lee, it's so good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you lowering your standards to have me.
Oh my gosh, no, you are so great. Well, Lee, obviously you're so much fun on the court. You've become a fan favorite. I know you're from the UK. Kind of tell us your story about how you got involved in the whole pickleball community and pro circuit.
Yeah, my good friend Lisa Palsick, when I lived in Bend, Oregon, asked me to play a tournament with her, and I said, sure, thinking tennis. And she's like, it's not tennis. I was like, well, what is it? She's like, pickleball. I'm like, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. And we went back and forth. She's like, it'll be fun, she said. I'm like, no, sorry, old people play it, And then it's like, I always knew I had a price. I didn't realize that my price was so low. And she's like, I'll buy you a case of beer. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm in. And that started sort of my love affair with pickleball, and I haven't looked back. It's been a crazy hell of a ride, and it's, I got to be on that wave of turning pro and seeing all that. And now, this year I graduated to senior pro, so I don't have to chase the balls that the 18-year-olds are hitting because they keep running them down. And but yeah, no, it's been a fun ride, and it's given me so much joy. And it's, anything I could do to help grow the pickleball community, I always want to be a part of.
And what was it like going from the pro level to senior pro? Was it a very different transition, or what was that like for you?
I'm going to get shot by all the senior pros if I say what I really want to say. No, I'm kidding. And, it's different. It's like, it's sort of, it's competitive, but there's not as many senior pros as there are pros. And I think that landscape is going to change here in the next couple of years. There's a lot more people like 48, 49 looking like, oh, I can move into senior pro, which happened in pro, right? And pro, there was everybody who became pro was sort of in their second sport, and now we're seeing people take it up as their first sport. So the sport's trending younger. And on the senior pro, we're going to look at people who had a very legitimate career of their own in whatever they did and still want to be competitive, and are now going to move into senior pro. So yeah, I mean, how has it? I've had some really good results in senior pro that I'm not, that obviously I'm happy about. It's nice to podium every weekend. It's nice to be on first place every weekend, and I'll ride that for as long as it lasts. I've got great partners that do a great job on carrying me and putting up with my antics on the court and my dumb shot selection. But it's definitely fun. It's different. I'm sort of the first female pro who's come into senior pro with a legitimate pro career. So my style of play is a little bit different. So I think it's a bit unnerving for opponents, but I'm pretty sure they're going to cotton on, and now I'm going to have to start adapting and figuring them out.
And I know you wear a lot of hats in the pickleball community. I know you're a coach, you travel a lot, you also kind of MC a lot of events too. I know I saw you on Zing Zang Championship Court at the US Open. What would you say is your favorite part about like your entire pickleball experience and just kind of all the roles you play?
I think I love competing. I love to entertain and put on a show, but what keeps me coming back to the sport is being able to affect people's lives, to change people's lives for the positive. You look at pickleball and it's this great sort of equalizer, old, young, blue collar, white collar, red, blue, male, female, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's on the court. You can play together. Different levels can play on the court. You can have your own group, and your friends can have their own group playing at different levels, and you will go out, for a happy hour or whatever. So it's this social fabric that's being woven, and I'm very grateful that I have a platform. But I also understand that the only reason I have a platform is because we sit on top of amateur tournaments, and the amateurs are the fans, the amateurs are the butts and seats. So anytime I get on the court and I play, anytime I get to do a camp, anytime I get to do anything, my goal is to really help empower people, put a smile on their faces, bring them along on that journey with me, because without them, I have no journey. And I am thankful for that. And I always want to make sure that they know how grateful I am for the platform that I've been given. And it's because of them, right? So that fan interaction is absolutely of the utmost importance to me, because they're the reason that I'm able to do what I do.
And that was the thing I always admired about you. Like, I feel like you're always a friendly face. You're always making people laugh and smile. And it's hard because I feel like as a competitive athlete, sometimes we can get so caught up in what we're doing and what we're focusing on. But it's nice to see that you can really, enjoy all aspects of the sport, especially the community and the fan base that you've built.
Absolutely. It's all about perspective. And
Yeah.
this sport has had, I mean, I always tell people who are like, "Oh my God, I love pickleball. It's changed my life." And I'm like, "Okay, how many phone numbers or how many names in your phone do you have with first or last name pickleball?" Like everyone has
Literally.
300 people they didn't know they needed or wanted as friends extra in that phone. It really literally has done that for everybody. And it's like, to be a part of something like that and to be able to really affect people and be a part of that change and be a part of the smiles on their faces. Like people will always remember how you make them feel. And that is something
Yes.
that I try to live by every day, right? And it's if I
Yeah.
can do that, then I can go to bed happy. And it's not getting caught up in the details of the seriousness of the sport. Yes, it's very serious. There's money involved with X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, we are on the court with a plastic ball. Like in that perspective, it's key. It's like, the world will, you lose, the world will still keep turning tomorrow. You'll get up,
Right.
it's, your name is not going to be blasted all over the internet and newspapers and everything going, Lee Whitwell just got her butt kicked. Like, no one cares. Like, no one cares. Like, at the end of the day, they care how you made them feel. They don't care if you won or
Yes.
lost. They care how you made them feel. And that is a much better legacy than walking away with a closet full of $2 gold medals.
I love that. I love that. And speaking of your following, you have a nickname on Instagram. How did you kind of, get that nickname and what everyone calls you all the time?
Yeah, it's like, so I'm from Gibraltar, right? And like that's been my nickname since I was like 16 or 17. And it's like everyone's always called me Lady Gibraltar or Lady G or whatever, way before Lady Gaga. Like, let me just throw that in there.
You got it
But
first.
I got it first. And it sort of stuck. And it's like, and when people are like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Well, do you follow me on Instagram? If you follow me on Instagram, you know where I'm from. If you don't, then you need to follow me, and then you find out." But yeah, it's just been my nickname forever, and it's just sort of stuck in it. I kind of used it originally, and I'm like, well, I guess it's stuck now. I can't change it.
And you went to, I mean, obviously you had a successful tennis career before moving over to pickleball. You were a D2 national champion, I saw, which is amazing. How would you say, though, compared to tennis, that pickleball has really enhanced your life and given you all these opportunities that you have today?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I was very successful in tennis, and and I played doubles on tour for a bit, but it was very obviously it was before social media, it was before anything, so you still had to write a letter and go to a call box, and when you didn't have money, pray that somebody accepted the collect call, didn't yell at you. um,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, it's like pickleball has been I never thought in my 40s I was going to be a professional athlete again. I don't think anyone thought that, right? And once you've passed your first sport, nobody thinks, hey, in my late 20s, early 30s, I'm going to start another pro career. It typically doesn't happen. So yeah, I mean, pickleball came into my life at a point when it all sort of collided in the perfect storm, and I was able to ride that wave and still ride the wave now. But I didn't see it coming, and never in a million years. So maybe now I look at it through a different lens and through it with a different perspective of like, this is something great I get to do, and I'm so lucky to be able to do it. And as much as I love to compete and win, and I hate to say I'm working on this, I'm a sore loser. I'm okay if you beat me. I'm not okay if I lose, right? So
Yeah.
that's the part where it's like I need to work on it. I need to clean up this. I need, and you can go back and like I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. But there's a little bit more perspective in the fact that it's not the end of the world, and like the sun does come up tomorrow, and there is another tournament, and we have a hectic schedule. So, losing a match here and there in the big scheme of things doesn't really matter. No, right? Whereas like in tennis, and this was a be all and end all. The younger you are, it becomes sort of that more hyper focused be all end all, and my world is over because I lost to somebody I shouldn't have lost to. Whereas the older you get, you look at it going, it's okay. Like, was I a good human? Did I make people laugh? Did I interact with people the right way? And if the answer is yes, then the result's the bonus.
And I think that's like for a lot of people, this and for myself as well, it was like your second chance at a sport. Like you said, you never thought you'd be at your age playing a sport again. I thought I was retired after I graduated from UCLA, and here I am playing. I mean, and I think that's why people love it and they're more like grateful, I feel like, for the sport because they're like they have this second opportunity. They got over the pressure from the sport that they grew up with, and now we're able to travel again and play and meet like some of the most amazing people I've ever met through pickleball. And I think that's why there's like a certain gratitude for this sport that maybe we didn't have for our other sports that we've played.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, it's that perspective that, right, when we're younger, we all are like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be this and it becomes everything almost to a fault. And
Yes.
this time around, we look at it and like, especially those that started playing pickleball like before the pro career, pro tour really took off, and things like there's something fun to do. We got to be competitive. We got to hang out. We had to laugh. It was more social. And then the competitive side came in, but we still all go to dinner. We'd still do things, and then that changed. Even further. And in senior pro, that hasn't changed, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, it's something that we get to do, and how lucky are we to be able to say, I get to travel around and hit a plastic ball and get paid for
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Hit a
come on.
plastic ball. I know, I call it a wiffle ball sometimes, but
I know.
yeah. That's so funny. And obviously, Lee, I mean, you've been all over the world actually now for pickleball. What has been one of your favorite memories or experiences with the sport, either, coaching or playing?
I mean, you always have the inaugural MLP, which was like sort of my breakout event, so to speak. That will always go down in the memory books. But anytime I get to go to a new country and coach pickleball and see the smiles on people's faces when they get it and they get hooked on it. Like that to me is growing that sport and really growing that sort of social fabric of interconnectivity and seeing it, the tentacles sort of reach far and wide and how they connect people. That to me is extremely fulfilling. I got to go to China for a couple of weeks, which was amazing. And just having a front seat at the growth of pickleball, I think is truly, truly a privilege.
And seeing like going to places like China, I know you just recently got back from Cancun. What is it like to see pickleball in other countries? Is it as big as it is in the US? Is it even bigger in other countries, would you say?
Yeah, I think the U.S. is its own phenomenon, right? It's a massive country with a lot of land and a lot of space. So we can build courts. In Europe, countries are smaller. They're the sizes of some states here, sometimes way smaller than the size of states. So real estate's at a premium. So when you start to see indoor facilities being built or dedicated outdoor courts, now you're like, okay, they're getting hooked and it's growing. Like in August, we go to England to the English Open. The first year, there was, I think, 452 participants, which is a decent small
Yeah.
size tournament, right, at a local club here. It's like, yeah, we get 400 or 500 people. That's a great tournament. Then the next year there was, I think, close to 1,000
Wow.
from, I think, 30 countries, and this year I think they're going to pass 1,500. And I don't know how many countries, right? So it's growing, and you can see that. You see people from all over coming together, and you're seeing the friendships that are formed and the meetups and everything, sort of like pickleball started here, where you see your friends. It's like, oh, I can't wait to go to Newport in July. I'm going to see so and so and so and so, and it's going to be great to catch up, and that's happening. But that's happening on a sort of inter-country scale in Europe because people are coming from different countries to play in one tournament because of ease of access, right? So it's
Right.
it's fun to see that growth. I think we're 5 years ahead of everybody else. They're catching up, and the thing is like internationally, look, everyone knows that we're very addicted to the sport in the U.S. But we've made some missteps along the way, like any growth of new sport, right? So the other countries they have the benefit of seeing what we've done correct and what we've done incorrectly, and learn from it, and be able to put things in place to sort of accelerate that growth. So it's coming, and it'll be nice to see. I think in a couple of years we'll see the leaderboard change, and it's not just USA 1 through 20. We'll start to see different countries smattered in there with player names. So it's definitely changing, and it's exciting times ahead.
And I know obviously it's so new and there are a lot of changes going on just within the United States, but where do you see like the future of the sport? Do you see it in the Olympics soon? Do you see it becoming an NCAA sport in the US? I guess where do you see it going?
I would love to put the Olympics on hold, selfishly, because there's a lot more growth that needs to happen in the sports. If we put, I mean, will it be in the Olympics at some point? Yes, it will be. Will it be in our lifetime? Hopefully. It'll be fun to see who gets to play, right? Is it this next generation? Is this generation coming up? Is it the one after that? Who knows? But I think if we really focus on it becoming a collegiate sport, it's big at the club level. Now, if we can make it a collegiate sport and there's a scholarship opportunity there to go to school now for pickleball, now your middle school and high school programs take care of themselves.
Yes.
And now we truly are now we've got a feeder program, right? And then we just focus on the elementary and the 4 to 6 year olds. Like now we've got a true feeder program. We still haven't got that sort of 4 to 15-year-old group playing the way they should. So
Right.
I would love to see it becoming an NCAA sport. Now there's scholarships. Now high schools are adopted as a sport. Middle schools are adopted as a sport. And now we've got something magical. And once we've done that and really backfilled, right? Because remember, it's a sport that started in death. Like the age was like, 1 foot in the grave. And we're slowly lowering that age. But somewhere along the route, we stopped at college, at club college. And I think we need to revisit and really emphasize that demographic so that the lower demographic or the younger demographic can backfill. And once we've got that complete program, now we've started in death, we've gone all the way down to birth. Now we can start to grow it the right way, right? And once we've done that, then we can focus on the Olympics. We can focus on, because we're so far ahead of all the other countries. There's so
Right.
much that needs to happen internationally to even go into the Olympics, right? And not only that, I mean, here in the US, how many governing bodies do we have? A few, right? We're
Yeah.
still calling our own lines. There's no drug testing in pro pickleball. There's no drug testing in amateur pickleball. So we're not even adhering to WADA, which is a World Anti-Doping Agency, which is required to be in the Olympics, right? We haven't decided on the rules yet. Every tour has a different rule or a tweak of a rule, right? Depending on if it's MLP, ABP, BBA. And then you have, so you've got that, and we have to decide on the ball and paddle technology and all of that, right? So there's a lot that we have to clean in-house and figure out before we start looking internationally, Olympic level and all of this, because, once it takes off, it's going to take off, but we really need to do it the right way.
The right way. That makes so much sense. And I know even like the little things that do make a huge difference, like you said, the paddle technology and the ball, like there should be a universal ball and all this stuff before we go to the big thing like the Olympics. And it's interesting. It's nice to see that the juniors now exist, but it's like these families, I know, like Megan Fudge and Ryler DeHart, they're like living on the road, homeschooling their kids. But it's like, I wish, for some, like it's great that works for them, but it'd be nice to be able to see it in summer camps and elementary and high schools and things like that to really help build that foundation, like you said, before it becomes, more of an international thing.
Absolutely. And it may never get to the Olympics, right? And like
Right.
I've been the one to always say, like if pro pickleball died tomorrow, pickleball will still be the fastest growing sports ever. Because at the
Yes.
recreational amateur grassroots level, it's amazing the growth that's happening, right? That growth is on a steep incline. On the pro level, yes, it's on an incline, but it's not that steep, right? It's sort of slow. The guys are coming in a lot faster than the girls. That's always
Yeah.
there's definitely more guys in the sport now than girls. And hopefully that'll all change. But yeah, there's things that need to happen, and hopefully they will, and hopefully we'll figure it out and get it right so that we can continue to be the model for the rest of the world. We want to be the sort of the gold standards that they base their growth of pickleball on.
Yes. And I think it's interesting too. Pickleball is a cool sport. Like you said, if the pros, like the whole circuit were to die, like pickleball will still exist. It's interesting because it's a sport that's so driven by amateurs. Like that's where, a lot of paddle companies make their most money is all from the amateurs, not necessarily the pro sponsorships. So it's interesting to see, like even at these tournaments too, I think what's cool about the sport is like, I could be playing at, a 5-0 level and be right next to Ben Johns, or a 3-0 is like warming up next to Ben. I mean, that's cool. Like you don't get that in tennis or other sports where one of the top players in the world is playing against, an everyday player. So I think it's cool to see that.
Right, and you also have the fact that sometimes a 3-year player has no clue who that person is on the court,
I
which is the
know.
beauty of it, right? And it's like
Yes.
there was they said something like 10 million people play pickleball in the U.S., which is amazing. And
Yeah.
if that's a true number, that's great. But like there's probably between pro and senior pro combined, there's maybe like 300 to 500 players. That's it.
Yeah.
And then if you look at your tournament, maybe you have let's be generous. Let's say there's 500,000 people that play tournaments every year. There's still 9.5 million people who don't really care about tournaments and don't care about the pro tour or don't care about anything. They care about
Right.
their game, their weekend warriors, their after school, it's their social, it's their outlets.
Yes.
So it's like we have to always remember that we cannot be bigger than the sport and cannot act like we're bigger than the sport. And I think that's a good litmus test, right? I think sometimes right now with all the money that's come in and everything, like people, some people, some organizations, it's like, yeah, well, this is the be all end all. It's like there's still so many people that love pickleball but don't care about the pro side of pickleball, and there's still
Right.
so many people that haven't heard of pickleball, believe it or not, you know. And
Yeah, no,
so
it's
we got to keep it into perspective, but it's a fun ride, and I think we're doing a lot of great things, and hopefully we can continue in the positive light.
and obviously, like you said, like a lot of money is being thrown into this sport. Do you think athletes right now who are signed, do you think they're making enough money?
I think some are not. I don't know if we're ever going to see these types of contracts again. I don't know if they're sustainable. But it'll be interesting to see in the next 5 years what happens. Because a lot of the athletes that are playing now, this is their second sport,
Yeah.
and they're on their way out. They know they have a life. I always say when I'm coaching the kids, I always say, remember, you're playing pickleball for a season. I don't know how long your season is. Could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 7, 10 years, whatever it is, but it's just a chapter in your life. So what are we going to do? Like, there's more to life than just this, right? And I
Right.
think everybody that came into pickleball as their second sport, sort of late 20s, 30s on onwards, realizes there's an expiration clock. And, it's great that these contracts are there. And they're like, yeah, it's great. I'm going to play for a couple more years, and then it's time to buy out. And we were seeing a changing of the guard. So I think the money was spent maybe on the older end, so to speak, on the more experienced end, I should say, not so much on the younger end. And that's going to change because there's every 6 months there's new names coming into the sport.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's career is going to get shorter and shorter. Like, I don't think we're going to see another career like Ben's or Annalise or Simone's or Kyle Yates, right? We've had a very long, lucrative career. I think people are now coming in and they're going to play for a much shorter career because of the volume of people coming in and the talent of the people coming in, because the money's there, the contracts there, it's a legitimate sport, and people are looking at it as, I am going to be a professional pickleball player. This is what I'm going to do, versus, well, tennis didn't work out, let me try pickleball, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's we're going to start to see that shift.
And just the level of competition is going to grow. It already has exponentially. I mean, imagine like if we started when we were 6 years old, like every other sport. I mean, it's like by the time you're, at the pro level, you're just that much greater of a player. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially if it does hit the collegiate level beyond, a club sport, just basically how the sport skyrockets and gets so much more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben gave an interview a while ago, and I he said something. He's like, well, he's like, if in 5 years' time, I shouldn't still be winning.
Right.
He's like, there's a problem if I am. And yes, Ben is very good, and he's a great study of the game and analyzes and makes adjustments, but he's very realistic with his expectations as well. And I think we can all take that lesson and be like, listen, we all have an expiration date on our careers. This is not a train that you're going to ride forever.
And it is crazy. I mean, I give them a lot of credit, both Annalie and Ben. I mean, they've, triple crowned so many events. It's just even like for as long as they have, that's such a amazing accomplishment that most people could never say in a sport. So, they've been able to hold that throne for a long time already. So it's great for them.
Right. Before that, you had the wave of like Simone was playing, and Kyle was playing. You had,
Yes.
they had that triple. They were doing triple crowns. They were doing it all, right? So we've had these sort of pioneers of the sport, And it's like, there's always a changing of the guards, and the changing of the guards coming is just a matter of when.
Right.
It's not a matter of if it's coming. It is coming. It's just when. And there'll always be and that changing the guards, I think, is going to get shorter and shorter as we progress.
And for you, Lee, obviously a fan favorite, huge personality. Is there something that a lot of people don't know about you that you'd like to share?
That I'm an introvert. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, what?
I like my alone time. What do people that they may not know? I wish I'd found this sport, or I wish I was 20 years younger, right, or 30 years younger right now playing this sport, because my career would look very different. No, I'm pretty much an open book. It's we've all got our own baggage, and we've all been through some hardships in life, and everyone has a story, and my goal is just to bring joy to people, so that I don't think there's anything that people don't know about me that they can't Google. There's nothing. There's nothing X-rated. There's no felony records or anything, I hope. I mean, fingers crossed. I think I've led a pretty clean life. But, with AI, who knows what somebody could make up.
I know, literally. It's so scary nowadays. And Lee, I mean, if you're not on the pickleball court, I guess what's another hobby that you love is there another sport or a hobby that you like to do besides pickleball?
I have a ton of hobbies. Do I have any time for them? No. I love photography. I keep saying I need to, next day off I'm going to go out in nature and start taking photographs again. Haven't done that. Love beach volleyball. I played college volleyball as well, so love beach volleyball and haven't played that. I think I've become a very boring person, but...
No, you haven't. I feel like you're far from boring, Lee.
I think my hobby right now, honestly, is spending time with friends and family, and realizing that that's time you're never going to get back, and it's time well spent, and it's meaningful. So that's sort of my introspective. I'm going through my introspective phase right now, if you will, because I'm too tired to go do anything else. So it's like happy hour with friends and family, and just like having those true connections. I think that's very meaningful for me, because at the end of the day, it's how you make people feel, and I love my friends and my family, and I don't get to see them enough.
Well, and I think that's so important, because I think people don't realize, like, you see on Instagram these pros like yourself, traveling across the country to either compete or coach. But with that, it can also get very lonely. Like being on the road, it's very tiring. You're always in a new spot. Everything's always new. So it's nice that when you are home or when you're with your family, you take advantage of that. Because I feel like people can get lost or feel alone when they're, traveling all the time.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people think we're unapproachable, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you're like, it's 6:00 and I'm in my hotel room. I'm like, well, this is very boring and depressing. But I need to like rest or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, it does get tiresome. It does get that. So a lot of times especially when I travel, I try to figure out, like, am I going somewhere where I've got friends or anything, and like have that, like go out to dinner with them and have that connection, because it's very grounding as well. And it's you want those real moments, and it just helps. It also helps re-energize and kind of reset you, which is something we all need.
I know, because you just had a crazy trip, right? You were in Cancun, then had to go to APP New York. It's like things like that. I mean, it's hard to recover from. It's also hard to like go from that trip to also try to compete at your highest level too.
For sure. I mean, we taught an amazing mega camp. It was great, and it was it was hot. It was like 110 on the court. Oof, and we were on the court from 7 a.m. to like 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. And it was just epic what we were able to create, and the atmosphere, and how, and it's like, it's always about the people at the camp. It's not about you. It's about the people at the camp. So you got to make them feel wanted, a part of something, make them feel great, make them hit a ton of balls, and be like, you're amazing. And then they're like, no, you're amazing. I'm like, yeah, but you're amazing. and you do it. And then it's like, it's and there's rinse and repeat, and it takes a lot out of you. And then, I had nightmare travel back to New York. But I played with Angela Simon, who's my women's doubles partner. It's the only event I could play because I was traveling on the mixed doubles day. And she was amazing. I'm like, Angela, I need you. I'm on fumes. Like I haven't
Yeah.
slept, but like just get the ball over the net. I'm just gonna play very contained. I'm just gonna do my thing when you clean up. And she's like, no problem, we got this. So yeah, you do it what you do, and you fall into what's natural, right? But it is exhausting, and then you come back and then you hit reality, and you're like, oh, no one's telling me I'm awesome today. Like, hang on a minute.
I know. And who, before I let you go, who would you say has had the biggest impact on your pickleball career and your journey?
Um, it would have to be my partner, Cindy, because she's been extremely supportive of everything that I've done and been my rock and is sort of my quiet calm and strength and is the one who encourages me to go do what I do. So if I didn't have her, that encouragement, I don't, and and be like, hey, I'm just gonna leave leave home for 3 weeks. See ya. Good luck holding down the
Yeah.
fort. Right. So having that support system is that she's probably been the biggest probably influence in my career because she's encouraged it.
Yeah.
Right. I know people sometimes that are talented that don't have that encouragement at home. Like it's a battle. I've got to pick and choose which tournaments I play because X, Y, and Z, right? So that quiet support and that strength has been a great encouragement for me. I mean, from a player perspective, there's different players that bring different things to you, but to your game and perspective. And I think because I'm so much older than a lot of them, I've been able to sort of been a mentor and also made great friends on the tour. And, we'll talk and exchange ideas and stuff. Like Andrea Cooper's an amazing human being. Simone and I get on great, and we talk about different things. But at the end of the day, it's like if you don't have that support system, it's hard to do what you want to do, right? So that's probably like she's had the biggest effect, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that is the most important thing you could ever ask for in life, whether it's pickleball or just, life in general. You really want to have a few people in your corner that are your biggest cheerleaders because,
Absolutely.
that's what's most important in life. And Lee, it was so great to have you on, hear your story firsthand. So thank you so much for joining us and stay tuned to see who will join us in the kitchen next time.